Hello there, freedom marketers. It's Divian Mistry here, the funnel marketing coach. Great to see you in the group. Thank you so much for joining me on this live stream, on this masterclass, because actually these little videos, these 20-30 minute videos do every single week are real masterclasses. If you go and implement these and take action, you're going to see some real differences in your business. And I'm really excited today because what we're talking about today is something that is essential for every single business if they really want to grow in this economy in this day, and actually has been a universal truth of marketing for a long time. And it is called the monkey's fist marketing strategy. So let me explain by giving you a little story about this, why it's called the monkey's fist marketing technique. And I want to take you back. A couple of years ago, I went on holiday to Crete, and on one of the days, we decided to go on this little boat trip. I say a little boat trip. It was a pirate ship that took us to this wonderful little island off the coast of Crete, and you know, it was brilliant. It was a wonderful day. Sun was shining, weather was sweet. And it was just this amazing little boat trip, right? And we got to the boat stopped near the beach, away from the beach, and we jumped out and swam to the beach, and it was just good fun. But one of the things so on the way back, one of the things that I noticed is this boat, being a bigger boat, had this rope. And this rope was the rope that it used to kind of keep the boat near the shore, right? Near the I'm not sure what you call it actually, because I'm not a boat person, but kind of near the dock, possibly. If you're a boat person, please put in the comments below. Let me know what this thing is. But effectively near the dock, near where they moored up, the area they moored up, and it's got this big rope. And what dawned upon me is this big rope was pretty heavy. And I know for a fact that I wouldn't have been able to throw this big rope out to the person at the shore and he catch it and, you know, pull it and wind it up and all that kind of stuff. And then what I kind of thought was, well, if you're on a cruise, if this is the size of the rope when you're on a boat of this size, how thick is the rope when you're on a cruise liner? I mean, it must be massive. It must be like this kind of thick, like the size of my head. And what dawned upon me is, well, how do you actually go about getting that rope? Even the rope that was needed to be pulled into the shore when I was on holiday in Crete, you know, on that pirate ship. How did that work? And I went and researched this, and what dawned upon me is they have something called a monkey's fist. Now, monkey's fist is this weight, and this little weight. What they do is they have a string, a much thinner rope. And what they do is they attach this monkey's fist to the really thick rope. And they've got this other rope, which is a lot thinner, easy to throw kind of thing. And they throw this rope to the shore. And they attach it to this monkey's fist, which is just a round kind of weight. I don't know why it's called a monkey's fist. I guess maybe it looks like a monkey's fist. And it's this round weight, and that weight is also attached to the thick rope. And all they do is they throw that rope to the shore, make sure the guy's caught it. It's a thin rope, easy to catch, you know, not too big a deal. And then they just drop this monkey's fist into the ocean, and this guy then just reels this small little thing in until he gets to the point of getting the thicker rope, and then using that to hold the ship near the shore. And we can use this technique when we're doing our marketing. What's really important about this is, you know, if you're trying to get somebody to the point of purchasing, and what you do is you throw them this big, you know, imagine that big thick rope is that they put on the shore is the rope, is somebody buying your main product or service. And this happens time and time again. And it's happened to me so many times. And we often go, right, let's just throw this big rope out. And don't get me wrong, presenting your biggest offer is important. But what marketers, what experts, what people like us often forget, I know I do, and maybe you do too, is for someone to go from not really knowing you to jumping in and buying your highest ticket product or a relatively high ticket product is a big jump. And it doesn't mean it can't be done, but it is still a big jump. So how do you get them there? Well, you use the monkey's fist marketing technique. And what that is you give them a little bit of the rope and you get them to pull it in. So a little bit at a time, they're kind of pulling it in and 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 pulling it in until they get to the big bit where they purchase. They purchase your main core product or service. And really, it's about nudging them forward a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. And by doing so, it makes it a lot easier for that person to take a step forward. It's like putting that small rope in. It makes it a lot easier just to pull a little bit of that small rope in than try and pull the big rope in one go, right? And so you want to throw your clients, customers, potential people a small rope so they can start to get closer to buying the big rope, the big kahuna, your main core product offering, service, whatever it is. And we can use the monkey's fist marketing technique to do this. So how do we do that? Let's break this down. Often people are scared of buying your product or service. They've got some fear around it, which is probably why they haven't bought yet, right? So if anybody's not bought yet, there are a chunk of people who are never going to buy. That's cool. Let's not worry about them. But the people who haven't bought yet, you've got to ask the question, why have they not bought? And often it's because we're presenting the big thing instead of giving them a small thing to kind of nudge them closer to you, reel them in a little bit. And we've got to think about, well, what are the different stages that people could be at and what could we do to alleviate, to get them over that hurdle? So there are a few different ways, and this is not a comprehensive list of everything you ever could do, but this is the core things that I personally seen that help people move forward. The first thing you can do, and very simple thing, is give them some more content in some way, shape or form. So for example, one thing you could do is give them a template. Last week in the live stream, I was talking about a technique you could use to really figure out what your audience is really looking for. I presented a template that you can use to figure out if there's demand for your product very, very quickly, right? One email, send it out. Let's see what can be done. And in that, I provided you a template of exactly the email to send out. So you just copy the email, change a couple of bits and send it. And you can measure demand using that on social media, by email, however you want. So the first thing you could do is give them a template. Now, why does a template work? Why does this nudge them forward? They might be thinking, I don't have a clue how this thing works. I don't know if it even works, right? And if they don't know it works, if they have no belief in the technique working, well, they're not going to buy because they have no relationship with you to say, hey, yeah, I kind of get it. I'm just going to trust you on it. Let me buy. They really need to know that it works for them. So if you can give them a template, they can go and use that template for free, right? They can go and use that and test it and see, does this actually work? And if it does, you have got them a step forward. You've reeled them in a little bit. You've got them closer. And some people just need to see that it actually works. You just need to implement something and actually see a result of some sort before they will invest in you, your product, your service, your offering, and pay you some money for it, right? No matter how much money. Some people just need to see that. So you can give them a template, go follow this template step by step, and voila, it's yours. You get to move forward with it and test it out. And if they see a result and they're happy, well, now you've reeled them in a little bit. So that's number one. You can give them a template. Number two is very similar. It's show them how to do it. So instead of giving them a template, because there are some things that you can't actually give a template on, right? I can give you an email template, but I can't give you a template. I can give you for example, I could give you a structure of how to do a live stream, but I can't give you a template that you just click a button, the whole live stream's done. You've got to actually do the live stream, right? You've got to sit there and do it. You can follow my structure, but you can't, I can't give you a ready-made live stream that you plug in and you don't have to sit and do the live stream. You're going to have to do the live stream. So you could show them how it's done, right? So how do you actually do this thing? Show them. Let's say you sell a product or service. Let's say you sell a product or service on how to help children change their behavior, feel more loved and change their behavior. I know there's somebody in here who does that. You could show them on a live stream, on a video, or even on an audio, exactly how you could use just one of your techniques, probably your best technique, just one technique, show them how to do it for free, and they can go and take that and use it and implement it and do it and start to see the results. And then they'll be like, oh, that's pretty cool. That works. So you're reeling them in a little bit further. That's another way you can use it. That's number 2. Number 3 is they often have objections. People have objections to buying stuff. It's totally natural. So in this monkey's fist marketing technique, what we don't want to do is kind of go against them objections. You don't want to kind of go against human nature. That's like trying to swim upstream in a river. Like, impossible, right? It's just really difficult. Have you ever even been, for example, have you ever been in the sea and you're trying to swim out into the sea and you've got big waves constantly coming at you? It's difficult. You can do it, but it's difficult. If you turn around and try and swim the other way with the waves, like surfers do, surfers get on the wave, it takes basically no effort. So what we don't want to do with objections is go against the objections. But what you could do is create a piece of content, a testimonial. It could be a video. You could do a webinar. You could do a blog post, whatever it is. But you could deal with one of the biggest objections people have. So let me give you an example of this. I used to sell property programs on how to invest in property in a particular way. And this particular strategy, often people go, property investing, you need tons of money to do that. I ain't doing that. How am I supposed to do that? I need tons of money. I haven't got any money. Well, the strategy that I used didn't require tons of money. And in fact, I could show people how to do it with no money. I started with no money in this strategy. And you look to joint venture with other people. So I could give away, to deal with an objection of why they might not buy, I could give away a technique, a strategy, of how they could overcome the objection. So I could say, hey, if your challenge is money, well, this strategy can be done with very little money, or I can also show you this technique, this way of doing it with no money whatsoever, right? You can go and find a joint venture partner who's got cash, and they could come in on the deal, and you could give them a return on their money and do the deal without putting any of your own money into the deal. So you could deal with that objection in a video. It might not be such a big objection. It could be a small objection. Like, for example, this is going to take me so much time. And you could literally have an FAQ section on your product, or you could do a video that's an FAQ, one question, and that question could be, well, how much time is this going to take? I don't have 20 hours a week. And if it genuinely takes only an hour or 2 a week, you could go, hey, it only takes an hour or 2 a week. In this structured way of doing it, it only takes a short amount of time. And you might throw in showing them how that is achieved as well. But a little bit of content, right? A little bit to kind of reel them in a bit, nudge them a tiny bit more forward. And lastly, the number 4, the fourth way you can do this is to offer them something that is a low price point. This is probably one of the most powerful marketing techniques you could ever use. Okay. It's offer them something of a low value. A low price point, high value. So it could be that you could turn your video course into a book, and you could sell them that book online, right? Online, as a book. You don't have to print the physical copy, just sell it as an online book. Get it transcribed, get it written up, edit it, and then just offer it them as a purchase. And that could be at a couple of pounds, £2 or £3. Now, this is incredibly successful, and the reason is because the best way to get someone to move forward is to spend some amount of money with you, even if it's a couple of pounds, because the act of making a transaction, the act of actually doing a transaction, turning them into a customer, is far, 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 far more valuable than trying to turn them into a high ticket customer. Because once somebody is a customer, the chances of them buying something else and then something else and then something else is massively increased. It's 10 times easier to sell to somebody who's already a customer than it is to sell to somebody who's not a customer. So what might you put in this high value, low priced offering? It's real simple. Take something from your main core program, the best thing that you've got. There's a couple of ways you can do it. One, you could turn your whole program into a book and just sell the book. That's a great way of doing it, by the way. Another way you could do it is take a slither of information, the most impactful thing that you have on your core main program, assuming it's not coaching, because if you're coaching, you can't give away coaching. But take some information and turn that into a program by itself. Re-record it as a program by itself. It doesn't have to be long. You could charge anywhere from a couple of pounds to like 30 quid. If you're turning it into another short course, I would go for at least 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds, or maybe 20 or 30 pounds, in that kind of region, and sell that as a course by itself. And thus, by doing so, you're turning your prospects into customers, which then makes it 10 times easier for you to upsell them into further customers, into further product services offerings. And what you're doing there is you're just reeling them in further. That initial sale is like them almost getting the rope out of the water. And I actually ran this test a couple of years back. I ran a low dollar offer. It was at £7. And straight after that, there was a one-click upsell in my sequence. And, you know, the uptake of that upsell was good, but obviously not everybody would take the upsell, right? And a number of months after that, I started running this particular webinar. And on this webinar, I'd sell my core product for £500. And you could pay in split payments for £600, 3 payments of £200, or pay up front 500 quid. And what happened in this process is I found, when I ran them webinars, the people who a number of months ago had bought something for £7 but hadn't bought that core offering previously, and previously that core offering was at a lower price, at £300. If they bought it straight away, it was at a lower price than on the webinar. It was actually half the price. Well, what I found is then down the line, when I did the webinar, the people who bought for £7 then jumped onto the webinar, and they were the ones who bought on the webinar. And this was just like amazing. I was like, wow. It was something like 80 to 90% of the people who bought on that webinar had 6 to 12 months before bought something for £7. And the reason this works is because you're turning prospects into buyers, so they pay more attention, they see massive value in what you have to offer, and then when you have to offer something bigger a number of months later, because they're now paying more attention as soon as they bought the low dollar offer, they're paying more attention to you. Now when you offer something of higher value, they've already paid more attention, consumed more of your content, and they're much, much, much more likely to buy, 10 times more likely to buy, actually. And you'll probably find that about 25% of people who bought stuff previously will pretty much straight away buy something again. Once you turn someone into a buyer, they're way more likely to buy something again. So you can reel them in, get them closer to the actual monkey's fist and getting the core offering. You can nudge them forward along this path and get them much closer to buying the core offering by just presenting something. It doesn't have to be big. It could be an audio CD. It could be an audio download. It could be a book. It could be a short video series. It could be a video on one particular technique, service, product offering that you have. It could be a call. You could sell them a call. I've seen someone sell a call at £1, but if by the end of the call you're happy with the strategy, then you pay the rest of it, which is another 250 quid, or you don't pay. You just cost you £1 if you're not happy with the strategy at the end of the strategy call. And so this is a great way to nudge people forward. So I want to leave you with an action. I want you to pick one of these ways of nudging people forward, using the monkey's fist effectively strategy in your marketing, and implement it. Go and implement it today. It could take you half an hour and make a world of difference for them prospects in your list to go, yes, I want to buy. Yes, I want to buy. And it doesn't take a lot of effort. It doesn't take a lot of time. But you do this once or twice a week, and you will get way more buyers in the long term. So look, thank you so much for joining me on this live stream. This is Divian Mistry, the Funnel Marketing Coach. I don't see any questions. If you do have questions, please ask away. And by the way, don't forget to watch last week's video. I'll put it in the comments below. You can get the template from last week and implement that as part of your strategy from this week's live stream. If you want to do that, please like this post, share it, share the group, and get more people into this group so we can grow this group to be a thriving community of experts who want to grow their business, who are taking action and getting themselves to the point of freedom. Thank you so much. My name is Divian Mistry. I look forward to seeing you next week at a very similar time here in the Freedom Marketers group.